Okay, in this video we're going to talk about file organization and how we work with our models in Rhino. So we already looked at hiding and unhiding objects. We do that by hitting Edit Visibility and Hide, or Edit Visibility and Show. That's handy if you want to look in areas that you can't see, such as in this shoulder joint. I'm going to use the shortcut Control H. Now we can see in here. I'm going to undo that by pressing Control Alt H. Okay. What I do want to look at is other ways in which we can organize our models. You'll notice over on the right here we've got our Help tab from earlier, but we also have a Properties tab. If you notice, when we click an object, the Properties tab changes to that object. And we also have a Layers tab here. On that Layers tab, what you can do is organize your model just like in Photoshop or Illustrator or something similar, and we can break it up into different parts which we can turn on and off. So to do that, we just click New Layer. We can see here that we have a default layer that's active by the tick. I'm going to create a layer called Head. There you go. I'll create another one called Torso, and we'll create another one called Legs. Okay. So what we want to do is put our objects onto the required layer. So to do that, we can just click the head, right click on the layer that we want to put it on, and click Copy Objects to Layer. Change Object Layer. If you turn that layer on and off now, you can see that the head will turn on and off by clicking that little light bulb. We can do the same with the torso. Right click, change object layer, and we can do the same thing with the legs. Again, just shift clicking there, change object layer. Okay, need a couple more layers here. I'm going to make one more for the arms. Okay, and we'll right click, change object layer. Again, just shift clicking to select multiple objects. Okay, I'm going to turn these back on. Another thing you can do, which is handy, is just lock those layers. So with the head layer now locked, by clicking that little padlock, I can no longer select it. Okay, and I'll unlock that now as well. So we can do that on any layer. Now what we haven't got on a layer are the hands, or this little joint through here. And I'm going to put those on what's known as sublayers. So that's a layer within a layer. So what we can do here, I'm going to put the hands on the sublayer of the arms. To do that, I'm just going to select the arms layer and click New Sublayer just here. I'll call it Hands. Okay. I'll shift click. I'm going to right click and change object layer. Okay. And now you'll notice I can minimize that layer, turn it on and off as one, or I can expand that layer and just turn the hands off individually. The reason I've done that is because they're most probably going to be used together. You're not going to have the arm without the hand, so keeping them on one layer that we can collapse keeps our layers nice and neat. And I'll do the same thing for the crotch area, that joint. So I'll click on my legs, new sublayer, joint. I'll select my object, and I'll right click and change object layer. Okay, and you can see those are on or off. We can also do this from the properties viewport. If I select my torso, and if I just scroll down here and say place it on default, it's now going to put that on the default layer. If I go to torso and place that on the head layer, for instance, it's going to pop it on the head layer for me. So now they turn on and off together. So that's another way you can do it, just through properties. But I tend to do it just like this. I find it's the easiest way to do it. And in the properties you can see what layer it's on and a few different options just here. And a couple of other things we can do. I'm going to go ahead and create a sphere, just anywhere. Okay. And what I'm going to do is look at the properties of that. Now this Lego model wasn't actually created in Rhino. It was created in another software package and imported in. So the options aren't quite the same for it. But you notice on this sphere we have all these lines around the outside. They're called isocurves. So if we have the object selected, we can turn them on and off in the properties panel to create a neater looking display. So in that case we only have the original seam of the object where it's been created. What we can also do is create a new layer and we can place that on. Change the name, sphere. I will change the layer and we should be able to change the color. There you go. So that little color tab there will allow you to change the color of that selected layer. Now you'll notice that this doesn't work for the Lego man. Again, I think it's just because it was created in a different software package. But that's okay. What we can do is just create some primitive shapes here, put them on new layers, and if you double click this little swatch here, you can change that color. Okay. You'll see here in the properties menu we have a layer, it's yellow, and we said the display color is set by layer. Alternatively, you can just change that manually, but by layer is a good default, and what that means is anytime we have that layer selected, so little tick, double click, you select that layer, anything we build now will be yellow. Again, it's a good way just to sort of know what you're working on visually. Other than that, it's just for it doesn't have any other purpose other than that. Now, in terms of your work, it's really important to always use layers. It really helps keep your models accessible not only to yourself but anyone else who needs to use the models. And it also means you can work a lot faster without sort of any hiccups, not knowing where parts are or anything like that, if it's all clearly labeled with these drop downs. Okay, that's about it. So that's it for layers, and we'll move on now to the next exercise.